Alrighty, guys, welcome back. A bumper year coming up. We are back, the League of Inches crew. Tell you what, we are back, but we're minus a couple, which is a bit sad. But look, Josh is out there celebrating a Canterbury Bulldogs premiership already. He's that confident. Dane's doing similar about the Roosters. He thinks they've already won the comp. So I don't know what's going to happen with those two, but there'll be some biffs throughout the year. Don't worry about that. We are back bigger than ever. Thanks for all the support. We've been a bit quiet the last month or two, social media, but the support's still been there. Everyone's still liking and getting involved with the post. You can see now we've got the hats done as well and the shirts. So if you are interested, just give the page a message. The store on Facebook's playing up a little bit, so I need to get around to that. But for now, just send the page a message and we can get one out to you. But look, I'm pumped. I can smell the deep heat. I can smell the boots walking along the concrete, and that's only means one thing, boys. There's footy around the corner. We got the All-Stars this week, which it's normally a great week. I know COVID's going to mean that not able to get out and about as much, which is a bit sad and the unfortunate times that we live in. But it's a great week. It's a great sort of time to represent the cultures and see the players play. Some players that you won't normally see play together end up doing the same thing. But check in, boys. Sid, how's your off season been? Have you put on some kilos or you lost some?
Oh, I put on a lot of kilos. With the lockdowns didn't help. I'm going to blame that. And not enough footy, because when you watch footy, you get up and you start doing these ones, burn a bit of calories.
Yeah,
cricket's too slow for me. You can lie down and watch cricket. You can't lie down and watch footy. It's too intense.
A lot of single guys out there find ways to burn calories in the off season. I can tell you that much. So, a couple of arms get a bit sore. Jace, mate, I tell you what, I feel like I see you every day at the moment. But how's your off season been? Obviously, hanging out with me has been good.
Yeah, it's been a testing off season for my patience working with you. No, it's been fun. It's been good to be hanging out with people I know every day. So moving up here to Brizzy from Sydney, just didn't have many friends or family, but the ones that I do have, I've spent a fair bit of time with them. So it's been good. Yeah, just like I said, I've packed on a few kilos over this little off-season break, but I'm starting to lose it again, so hopefully it doesn't take as long. It's a lot quicker losing it than it took me to gain it, so yeah.
I tell you what, you boys better hope I'm not turning into Magic Maguire here. I'll end up making you be doing laps for days. So, look, I don't know about you guys, but it's just great. It's great. The footy is back. Saturday night's already planned to be on the couch and watching a bit of footy. Sid, I just want to say congratulations first off on a light-hearted note. You've managed to go the first 3 minutes of this video without mentioning Paul McGregor. So I think that's a record.
No, you started it. You shouldn't have said anything just to see how long it would have gone.
It's well done. We've had a great start to 2022, and let's do a count, everyone. Let's see how long Sid can go without doing a McGregor post or comment.
No worries. I'm washing off all negativity. All right, it's a new season. That he who shall not be mentioned is in the past. He's gone. We know how crap he is. No one snapped him up when he got sacked. We know. He's a glorified ball boy.
New year, new Sid. So he's going to just start after that bit, what he just said. He's a new fresh. So just quickly, guys, Paige, a lot of good ideas coming this year. We've got the tipping comp, super coach and fantasy. We'll probably be putting those up at the end of this week to join. So first in, best dressed, basically with those ones. They're all full last year. So make sure you get in quickly. We've got hopefully get some more players on, a bit more player interactions this year. Especially now that they're a bit more freedom with hopefully freedom, depending on what happens. The women's game's coming up, so get a couple of the girls back on and have a bit of a chat about the busy schedule really for the women's game. I've heard today that there could be some females playing up to 30 games this year, which is crazy when you think of all the scheduling that they're going to have to come up with. And just a bit more collaborations with some pages and a lot more posts and things like that. So keep interacting with us. We love it. But boys, I said it before, All-Stars week. And I put up today as the fan question on the Facebook and Insta pages, and had quite a few responses, some good, some bad, some in between, some that I won't say and read out in public, but there is a few that we will get around to. But first of all, Jace, what's the All-Stars week mean for you? Are you a fan of the concept?
Yeah, I'm a fan of the concept, like the original concept with, Indigenous All-Stars versus, pretty much rest of the world was, pretty cool concept, and was really good. And then they brought in like the two main Indigenous groups that really play our game, and it's been great, mate, to see that the pride that these two identities have. It's really good to see, and you really see that throughout the coming days leading up to the match and during the match, and you see it around town as well. So it's really good.
Yeah, well summed up there. And obviously a fan of the game. Then you're not one of those that want to see it moved or scrapped or anything like that.
No, I don't. It's nice having it in Gold Coast, but this year they've moved it to Bankwest, have they?
Yeah. Well, it's called Combat now, mate. But it's
same. It's still the
Parramatta takeover.
Parramatta Flops home ground, so it doesn't really matter what it's called. It's still going to have a losing record at the end of the day.
Fired.
It was nice having it on the Gold Coast, but I think it's a good thing spreading it around the country. Hopefully it doesn't stay at CommBank for too many years following. Like give every state a crack at it and get to share in the atmosphere as well. Would be good for the game, the growth of it as well.
Yeah, I reckon take it up to places like Northern Territory and things like that. It would be an absolutely bonkers weekend, and something that the whole city and things like that would get around. So I'd love that idea.
Or even take it to NZ for a year as well.
Yeah, just keep doing alternatives. So 1 year New Zealand, 1 year rural Australia somewhere, which would be a fantastic way to grow the game. And there's been people mentioning in the comments and things like that. The resounding one so far for mine has been that most people do like the concept. I think they like the fact that it's footy. There's been two things that some people don't like: the timing of it being the first game of the year. They're thinking maybe there's a way to bring it in as sort of a mid-year sort of game. Or I heard a really good comment today. I read one about maybe doing it on the Indigenous round as a way to celebrate that properly and having that, depending on how the league wants to go around that. The other one is that, especially at the start of the year, the real gun players, the coaches are sort of putting them in cotton wool, and some of them aren't playing if they've got little niggles or coming back from postseason surgery. So you don't really get the chance to see the best of the best in the All-Stars, so to speak, which is what the concept's called. Sid, I know you're a man of wisdom, of knowledge. What do you say to those ones that are saying similar to that?
Well, I'm going to have to work backwards. There's a lot to go through. But as far as what you're talking about, the concept of the game, I like it. It's good. It's a good time as well because there's no footy, so you're footy starved. When you're starving, a cracker tastes like a roast chicken. And as far as the players pulling out, look, I don't mind, but I'm a fan of, I watch under 20s and I watch with New South Wales Cup and Queensland Cup, and I don't mind the next bloke coming through. I think last year or the year before, what's his name? One of the St. George young forwards, Indigenous player, he came out of reserve grade. And he played a new man of the match. Josh Kerr, that's right. Yeah,
you're a really good Dragons fan.
No, that's all right. I have my lovely assistant Jason, who just triggers my memories.
He was your best last year, and you've forgotten him.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. In a beaten pack, and he said that was the thing that sort of pushed him and made him realise he's a first grader. And further to that, a lot of players. You got to, as far as the players go, even a guy like Jamie Scout, who's won a comp, played for New South Wales as well, and he still talks about when he played an Indigenous game and he met Preston Campbell and he got to hang out with him, when they went into camp and trained and stuff. And it's something big, and why not? Like it's a nice thing. And as I said, if a big name pulls out, it just means another young kid coming through gets a chance to experience it. As far as moving the game, if you're going to move it, you go to the State of Origin standalone weekend, so the middle State of Origin, the second game. You do that, and then it'll have to be the players that don't make Origin, obviously, but it will just be an extra game. Chuck it on the Friday night. You got yourself another game. We've seen some internationals like Tonga and Samoa trying to do it as well. Like, why not have a carnival thing? Some double headers here and there. So there's definitely something to muck around with. I just think, in short, it's a great product. And for footy, here we go. The week after Charity Shield.
Yeah, that's where the Dragons win their premiership, isn't it? Normally that game. So
we've lost 12 in a row.
I love the concept. I'm a massive fan of the concept. The only thing I'll say, and I will dig into this in the next couple of weeks.
Said 12 in a row you've lost.
Yeah.
So the last one you won was 13 years ago.
Something like that, yeah.
That's
the year we won the grand final.
That's still, you've won one since Para won the premiership anyway.
Oh, so yeah, definitely.
We'll just
you still got more silverware than them in the cabinet at the moment.
Can anyone hear that? I think there's some mosquitoes around or something. But as I was saying, I love the concept. I'm a massive fan of it. I do like this. I can sort of see the benefits of moving it in different times of the season. I do like that. It's just about working out the best ways. One thing I want to say, though, and this is my gripe for this week, is that you've got a player of Latrell Mitchell's status, of one of the best in the game. He has to sit out because of a suspension that's carried on from last year. And look, I get he can have the suspension during the rounds and things like that, but this is the first game of the year to get everyone back into footy. I have no doubt in the world, even the most casual fans will be watching this because it's a bit of footy. It's back after a few months, and you've got one of these players here who would bring in the crowds. People will watch the game just to see Latrell Mitchell do something crazy, which he always does, and he's up there doing his war cries and things like that. And I just think the game's missing out. Well, why jeopardize your product that way because of a suspension that's, as I said, I can get carrying it through for normal rounds like round 1, round 2, things like that. All good. No gripe for that. But these sort of showpiece games, I just don't like the fact that some of these players will miss out because of something that's happened 4 or 5 months ago. I don't know. I don't know if I'm talking baloney here, boys, but
I agree with you, bro. The one thing that gets me about the whole Latrell situation is the fact that he's not allowed to play this game because of suspension, but this game doesn't count towards his suspension. So this game isn't marked off from his suspension. So why the hell is he made to sit out this game when it's not even going to be counted towards his suspension anyway? It makes no sense.
And the other thing is, Sid, he's allowed to play the Charity Shield. Make that sense. That's crazy. Yeah. I actually heard about that.
Wow.
He's allowed to play the Charity Shield because it's classed as I forget how they class it, but apparently that doesn't eat into anything. So next week,
this is an outrage. They've already rigged the game. We haven't even started yet.
We're already in on the NRL. The NRL, so we've been off, but we're back. So
I got a protest.
George has already lost the Charity Shield and they haven't even played it yet.
Yeah, that's right. It's 46.
Look, before we go to the next thing, I just want to quickly mention, I want to give Jace a wrap here, guys. The NRL recently came out and did some rule changes. And Jace, I'm surprised you hadn't said anything about this yet, but I have to go back and find where we spoke about what rules we would change. But Jace actually pinpointed the main rule change that has happened this year. What was it, Jace?
The whole 6 again rule, like teams just giving away that early penalty in the tackle count so they can get their line set and then keep teams trapped down there. And my suggestion was that change it to if there's a penalty in the first couple of tackles or within a certain territory, say like the team that's trying to get out within their 40 meters should just be a straight penalty. And then from there, once they cross halfway or whatever, then it just becomes 6 again. So
off the back of that, Vlandis, we now know that you watched the show. Please feel free to just call in, send us an email. That check we'll be waiting for in the mail. So I hope you got my address right, and we'll just share it around the boys and probably have a weekend away. Probably deserve it already after this episode. So I wanted to just have a bit of a general chat. We've been off for a while. There's been some big signings, whether at the end of last season or throughout the off season, and have a chat about a few of the key ones that we're obviously going to go deeper into this when we do our individual team previews leading into the rounds. But I thought with this one, let's start off with a household name who's done a big change because he wasn't wanted at his club anymore, didn't want to leave, but now he has. And Adam Reynolds, he's now the captain of the Broncos as well. And that's a different argument for another day. I don't want to get involved with that one. But Sid, what's your thoughts? Adam Reynolds from South Sydney to the Broncos. Obviously, probably you're going to say a good move, but what's your reasons why?
Oh yeah, look, it's a good move for him, and more significantly, it's a good move for the Broncos. And the South are really keen on that young bloke they got coming through. I get a bit of amnesia because I haven't watched any footy for 4 months, but there's that young bloke. Was it Blake Tough?
Yeah, he's one of the ones. There's also, I think, a guy called Ilias or something. They got big rap from him as well.
Yeah, and they made the big call, but you know what? It reminds me of Robbie Davis when he was at Nikes and he just wanted one more year, and they offered him rubbish money. It was an insult. And then the argument came up of players that are lifelong players, they should get a salary cap concession or something. And it's obviously Robbie Davis retired, 20 years ago, 15 years ago. They still haven't addressed the issue, and then this happens again. But yeah, on the positive, it's definitely a good thing for the Broncos. He's a quality player, game manager, goal kicker. He's been there, done that. He's already won a comp. He's unflustered. He's not going to get affected by reps, most likely. It's a shrewd purchase. They threw the big dollars at him. He can go live up in the sunny state. Beautiful
spot to be living. I can say that myself. Although Brisbane's a bit of a bitch to get around sometimes, especially that M1. If there's an accident or something, the traffic is a nightmare. So, look, I think Reynolds. It's a massive year for him personally. I reckon this will be the most pressure he's probably had coming into a season for a long time. So it'll be interesting how he responds to that. But no doubt, I'm with Sid there. It's a really good signing for the Broncos. Exactly what they need. They need that captain to steer him around the park, and they were missing a kicking game massively last year. No disrespect to the playmakers they had there, but none of them are a noted kicker. And there's some of their end of tackle plays or end of set plays were just horrendous, to be polite. So, look, I'm not going to ask Jace about that one because Jace is about to jump off his chair in excitement because the next couple of players are going to the Doggies. And we all know by now Jace is a passionate Doggies man. He hasn't shut up about the Doggies' chances this year. He's actually given me a sore left ear in the car just by him gabbering on. First one's Maddie Burton. So I'm going to go different ways with both of these players. I think they're both going to add different things to the team. Now, Maddie Burton, for me, brings a player that the Dogs haven't had for a while now, and that's someone you can actually build the club around. And if they do it correct moving forward with this bloke, he could dead set be a 10-year plus dynasty sort of player and someone you really can build this club around. What are your thoughts on Burton?
100% agree with everything you said there. He is a player that they can build around, and they need to build around. More importantly, like we said it the other year with Kyle Flanagan coming in saying, this is his team, this and that, and he wasn't really given the chance. Like, I hope that's not the same story with Matt Burton, obviously, seeing as how we've been for the last couple of seasons. I think that the players they've put around him, it's going to be a different story to when Kyle Flanagan came in and had Josh Jackson and Luke Thompson as his go forward. That's about it. So I think he's been put in a better position to thrive with the players that have been added to the roster around him. So it's definitely his time to shine. Like at Penrith, he behind Cleary and then playing out in the centres, he didn't really have much to do. This is going to be his team, and he needs to step up. Like there's a lot of pressure on him, but I think the kid can handle it, and he's proven that he can handle pressure. So I think it's going to be a big year for him.
Yeah, I think he can really help bring out Flanagan's game as well. I think they can both be a pretty decent halves pairing moving forward and someone you can stay with. So we'll have chats about Flanagan moving forward. I know we will. The next one's Otto Carr. And what I like about Otto Carr for the Bulldogs is he brings an energy. And people can obviously say, yeah, he's such a good signing because he's got speed. For mine, it's not about the speed. It's about the energy he's going to bring day in, day out to that club. Because as an outsider and as someone who has probably hated the Dogs for quite some time, I can still look at it and think it looks like it's been a pretty miserable club for the last few years, and it's been a pretty hard place to go to work every day, train, and really be up. When you're getting beat every week, we all know, we've all been there before with teams or work or something. When you're getting repetitively beat, it just becomes hard. And I just feel like Otto Carr's that figure. He'll just bounce in on a Monday, whether it's a win or a loss, beats are going, he'll be dancing. Exactly what you need around the club. It's at the moment, especially for the Doggies.
Yeah, definitely. He's that's what a lot of people assume, like it's just his speed. It's not about his speed. His speed is amazing, but it's his workload. The amount of work the guy gets through every game, like people don't realize, coming off their line of kick returns, in some sets he might take 2 hit-ups in the same set, and that's like that'll happen like 4 or 5 times throughout the game. So by the end of it, that's why he racks up so many run meters as well. Like, and the guy just gets in there and he helps his forward. When his forwards are tired, he's not afraid. Like, he's not a big guy. He's not one of those big wingers, but he will roll the sleeves up and get down to work when his team needs him to. And that's the biggest thing for him, biggest part of his game.
See, I know you've been a big critic of the Bulldogs, whether that's because you have a nice little rivalry there with Jason, Josh, but just these 2 signings alone. Don't worry about any of the others because we'll dig into the Bulldogs in a few weeks' time. But you've got to say, you know what, there's some positive signs coming up for the Doggies.
Yeah, 100%. They signed well, they bought well. I think they paid overs for a couple of blokes, but you have to when you're struggling. And like in particular, like guys like Corey Allen, I think they paid a little bit too much. Flanagan as well, I think they paid overs, but they had to, and they will balance it out. They're a very smartly run club, I have to say, albeit it bit them in the backside the way they packed their, as you guys know, the much publicised issues they had with their cap for many years. They're now over that well and truly, and they got Phil Gould, who I think is probably the best man for that job. He has some emotional ties to the club.
Are they still paying for Eastwood?
He's about as old as Clint Eastwood now.
The next one.
Good, man. Good. Yeah.
The next one, Nico Hines. Obviously, Storm to the Sharks, and we'll go into the Storm in a different episode. But I've got some questions over the Storm at the moment. But Nico Hines, a breakout year last year. Probably one of the more exciting players coming through the comp now and natural talent. Really just one of those freak footballers that you rarely see these days. Everyone's too overly coached for mine. The Sharks have a good one here. I know for mine, when we talk about the Sharks later on, there's some question marks for mine over their halfback and who's going to do that role properly as a proper halfback. But for mine, Hines, he can slot in anywhere. I know the Dragons did put some feelers out to him, Sid, so you obviously would have loved him to sign with the Dragons, but he's a great signing.
Oh, yeah. Look, he's a good player. He's a very rugby league sort of player. Like, he's rugby league between the years, and I know I use that term a lot, but there are a lot of athletes in our game. And look, I'll tell you the positives of Nico Hines. He can hold the ball out in front of him, right? But he can still go full pace, and he can run diagonal and still go full pace. What he needs to use him at his best is when you roll and you get those quick play the balls, and he's running at defenders going backwards. I know it's a cliche, but that's the game for 120 odd years or whatever it is. That's what he needs. The reason I bring that up at this time is whether Sharks have the game plan to get teams rolling back. I think they're still a little bit heavy in the forwards, which means you need some dynamic forwards to get the quick play the balls around the ruck. So I think there are 2 or 3 too many giant forwards. But look, he's a quality signing. The other question mark I have on him is the fact he's 26, so he's not some prodigy that come through. He's very much a late bloomer that came into a side that knows how to get teams on the back foot. And then when Pappenhausen was out for so long, he just slotted in like all good, good teams have game plans, great teams have systems. And he slotted into the system and it worked perfectly for him. And he had this purple patch where he was scoring tries, assists, left, right, and centre, doing everything at max speed. Whether Sharks can replicate that for him and give him the right circumstances to succeed is another matter.
Mate, yeah, that's quality. You have changed in 2022. Absolute. You're in. Feel good. Just pull your face off, please. Jace, just really quick one here. Hines or Burton? Who would you rather?
It's the two. Yeah, Hines is going into 5'8", isn't he? At Sharks, from what I've heard, he's slotted into 5'8", so it's a good comparison. Yeah, and they got 2 different styles of play. Really, Burton's a real kicker and organizer, whereas Nico Hines is that real attacking style half. But for me, the way the game is at the moment, I think I would go with Burton just purely because of his big kicking game. And what he's got is the tactician in him is what most teams need, I think.
You've turned into Sid this year. I asked you for a quick answer. You've gone for 3 hours. So thanks, Chase. The last one on the list, and we're about to let Sid just go. I'm going to give you 30 seconds on this one, Sid. I don't want you to go too much because we'll go to the Dragons another day. But Moses Sully obviously has come over late from Manly over to your Dragons, and an interesting signing for mine. I put this in because I think there's people out there you could put this in either way. You could either be a really good big fan of this signing, or you could go, I don't think that's what we needed. So as a massive Dragons fan, 30 seconds, go.
The pendulum swings both ways. He has a great upside, and when he's on, he's as dangerous as Joey Leilua in his prime, the years of Leipana. But when he has his down games, where he's been an idiot, shooting out of the line, he drops 2 balls and his confidence is gone. That's the biggest question, whether the coach can get him more on his upside.
Wow, he's actually made it.
That was shorter than 30 seconds.
I was actually a bit shy. I was caught off guard there, but mate, perfect segue. We've got some. I know the other 2 on here, but we're going to do our predictions now. This is what we promised the punters today. So go around, and there's about 4 or 5 bold predictions we made here. And last year, some of us are pretty good with these. So look, gamble responsibly, but go off what we say. Please do, and give us the credit. Premiers, let's go straight to the top. Who's going to win the comp this year? I'm going to go Jace first. He's looking pretty smug.
My heart wants to say the Bulldogs. I think Bulldogs will be a top 4, but I think premiership this year is going to be Roosters.
Wait a second. Hang on. Actually, no, wait. We'll go back. We'll go back to that.
By my words.
Sid, who's your premier, Sid?
Oh my God. Oh no, wait, no. Bulldogs top 4. This is the top 4 of the bottom 8?
No, top 4 of the top 4.
Oh.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna leave that one because I'm on the clock apparently.
Yeah.
Look, but it's tough to say. Roosters are up there. If Brandon Smith can be enough of a nuisance to get an early release, that goes to the Roosters, which I think he's trying to do, then they're going to shoot to my number one. Because he's a little bit of a cheeky bugger, and I don't think Bellamy likes it too much. The only reason he put up with him because Brandon Smith, he owned that team. He lifted him every time he got on the field. He lifted him, and he got rotated off. They went flat. That was there for all to see. As far as man, can Penrith do it again? Manly.
Wait, didn't you just lock in the Roosters?
No, I'm saying if Brandon Smith goes there, then yes.
You're on the clock here.
All right. You want to go to a commercial?
I'll go mine. I'll come back to you. I'm going Roosters.
Yeah, okay.
And I think this year is more important than
Bloody Dane.
And you've got to have the strongest squad overall, I reckon, to win this comp. I think with all the COVID crap going on and who knows who's going to have miss weeks, blah, blah, blah. I think the Roosters are on for one.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go Panthers.
Oh, there you go. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Here's a good one. The top four. So you don't have to really do order. Just go your top four teams. I'll go us off first to give you two quick thinking time. I'm going to go Roosters, Panthers, Para, Storm. Storm will scrape it in. Sid, I'll let you go first.
Oh, man.
I know he's still thinking he's an old man. Jace, we already know one of Jace's picks.
Yeah, Bulldogs.
I guarantee it, bro. I guarantee it. It's going to be Roosters, Storm, Penrith, Dogs.
Wow.
That's DJ Sid.
Wicket ones and twos. Panthers, Roosters. They're the easy ones. Who else we got? Who else? Manly. I'm gonna go with. You don't understand. Manly. I'm gonna go with Manly. And I might regret this, but I'm liking the look of Newcastle. I think they're gonna have a breakout year.
They just lost their hooker.
And when you just giving me shit about the Dogs and you say Newcastle.
All right.
Shoot yourself, mate.
They've just lost Jaden Bailey for basically the year. They're starting hooker and captain, and they're going to make the top four. You're off, what? You're DJ Sid. You're gone.
All right, Dragons.
Top 8 team from last year. A top 8 team that wasn't there last year that's going to surprise and make the 8. So we already know Jace is saying the Dogs. So Jace is locking in the Dogs.
Dragons for me. Yeah.
I'll throw in another one. I'm going to go with Warriors to actually make the top 8.
I'm going to just say the obvious one here in the Sharks. I just call it as it is. Sharks will make the 8. You can put your house on that. So Wooden Spooners. I'm going to go the Cowboys. I really don't know. I think that club is all over the shop at the moment. So I think the Cowboys are morals for it.
I'm going to go Tigers.
Oh, Madge gone halfway through the year.
Yep.
Look out. Sid? I'm not going to go into it because we had a lot of airtime in regards to Payton and my questioning of his coaching ability and the way he's handled Tamalolo, among other things. And further to that, the club, the way they've not really handled the aging roster that well. If you want to handle aging roster, you don't buy Townsend, who's like 33. You know what I mean? Blokes like that. But I can't see the Cowboys getting much better, and Payton's going to go the way of Jason Taylor. Yeah. He's going to be a distant for a career of assistance.
Yeah. And Dally M of the year. I'm going to go for, I think the Roosters will win the comp, and I reckon it'll be off the back of Luke Keary coming back and being the star of the show. So lock me in for Luke Keary. A dark horse or a smoky, Latrell Mitchell for mine. Might come back and just go wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. So Sid, DJ, Jace.
I would have to agree with you on Latrell Mitchell. Like, if he can clean up his game, which he doesn't play dirty, he just plays with his heart on his sleeve and he just plays his natural game. But if he can clean up those little niggly things, I think he will get Dally M.
Yeah, I think he's going to come back with a point to prove. He'll miss the first few weeks and then he'll be in there and want to do, because now they've lost Reynolds and Gay Guy. There's a big room for him to step up and really take control of this side with Walker, and I think he's going to do that. Sid?
Yeah, I think Tommy Turbo, because I look at players that they're in a team where there's only one other player that will take points off him regularly. That's Mr. Longneck. What's his name? Cherry Evans. And and my dark horse is definitely Harry Grant. I have that rant about him. He's been the best young dummy half I've seen in like 20, 30 years, easy. And if he can stay healthy, he's gonna have a real crack at it.
And the true fans out there will know that Sid does love a good hooker. So he's staying with that vibe for. I said dummy half. He's got a really soft spot for hookers. So that was one of our great ones last year. I'm going to bring that up again. But
they're always waiting for a lift, and no one gives them a lift.
Guys, that's it. First one. As I said, after this All-Stars week, there's some trial games and things like that. What we'll start doing after this is probably choose a few teams each week, just to have a bit of a chat about and break them up into videos and go through the season to be. And then obviously talk about Sid's favourite topic, which is coaches under pressure, which he's asked and begged for. We've run out of time for this one, but we'll bring it in. And no doubt he's probably going to say Peyton and Jace is probably going to say Madge. But we'll go there, guys. And thanks for tuning in. We're back. League of Inches is back. Don't forget about the hats or the shirts. And boys, any final words?
Go the Dogs.
Dogs top 4.
Dogs for premiers.
That'll do.